A road trip, heading down the highway, discovering America. Spring is a great time to start an adventure. A 5,000-mile road trip. The Pacific Coast, a stop at the Gulf of America, and then onto the Atlantic Coast. Welcome to Tommy's Holiday, Episode 13, Letchworth Falls to Niagara Falls, New York. Letchworth Falls was a beautiful New York State park, and I'll need to visit it again when the water is at more normal levels. But I'm off to Niagara Falls for a week of exploring and hiking with a historic stop at Old Fort Niagara. Join me as I explore the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area. From Letchworth Falls, it's only a 95-mile journey, which gives me a total of 4,354 miles traveled from San Diego across this beautiful country. I'm taking a rural route to Lockport, New York. It's a beautiful little drive through farmland and small towns. I will be stopping to check out the Erie Canal Discovery Center on my way to Grand Island KOA Campground. The Erie Canal was opened in October 1825, linking east to west, 363 miles in length. It was originally comprised of a flight of 5 locks, number 67 through 71, located in Lockport, and raised the canal boats 60 feet in elevation. Today, it's 2 locks, number 34 and number 35. The Discovery Center is a place to see and learn the history of the construction on the canal, the locks, and how they work. There's a boat trip on the canal that I'll be taking before the end of the week that passes through these canal locks. My week stay is at the KOA on Grand Island, a short drive west on State Highway 31 out of Lockport and through a small town and farmland. Then onto Interstate 190 south to the island so grand. The KOA is very nice, and having geese for neighbors can be a bit messy. But this is a beautiful campsite for the week. I'm running on empty. Fuel prices across America, and in New York, it's $3.25 a gallon. This New York State Park is 504 acres, located at the mouth of the Niagara River, and is part of the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area. The fort is at a strategic point for the navigation of these waterways. Entering the park, one encounters the earliest lighthouse on the Great Lakes, a castle-style structure that spirals up 61 feet, constructed in 1872, and can be seen for 25 miles. This is the third lighthouse constructed on this spot. Join me on a walk to explore Old Fort Niagara. Old Fort Niagara began construction more than 300 years ago. Located at the mouth of the Niagara River, it controlled access to the Great Lakes and the westward route into the heartland of North America, including the land route around the 182-foot falls. To the Native Americans and early Europeans, these waterways were natural highways through the rugged and heavily forested lands. (1726), French soldiers began construction of La Maison, a large stone building known today as the French Castle. Designed to house 40 soldiers and surrounded by a wooden stockade, the new fort protected French interests in the region. The soldiers' quarters are a bit tight and cozy with common sleeping and dining areas. A chapel was always present for the army. The officers' quarters were more plush for the frontier commanders with their private dining rooms and meeting spaces. The roof attic housed cannons for defense of the fort. The British targeted the fort during the French and Indian War, and in 1759, after a 19-day siege, took the fort from the French. To guard against attacks, the British built 2 stone redoubts in 1770 and 1771. In spite of these improvements, the fort was in decrepit shape by the outbreak of the American Revolution in 1775. Over the next 8 years, the British expended a great deal of effort on the fort to protect their link to the West. At the conclusion of the American Revolution, Fort Niagara was turned over to the United States. However, unresolved treaty disputes delayed the transfer until 1796. The British moved across the river and the Americans controlled Fort Niagara. A wonderful visit and fort to explore. Niagara Falls is a New York state park and possibly the oldest state park in America. Established in 1885, the park covers over 400 acres. Goat Island has walking paths and a trolley line for visitors to gain access to the falls and explore the Niagara River. In 1885, horse-drawn carriages around the island cost $1. The island splits the river and sends water to Horseshoe Falls, which is part of Canada. This waterfall is amazing, and approximately 675,000 gallons of water flow over this fall every second. There are 2 approach paths to the falls from the parking area, and both reveal a different personality of the falls and its mist. Just a short walk away is Bridal Veil Falls and the American Falls. Approximately 76,000 gallons of water tumble over these falls every second. The American Falls can be better seen after crossing the pedestrian bridge towards the visitor center. The observation platform is located on the mainland of the park. Enjoy a walk along the river to the bridge that takes one to the mainland and a view of the American Falls from the opposite shore. Then to the observation platform. Single tickets are available to enter, and it affords one a great view of the falls. Below, you can see the Maid of the Mist tour boats. If you want a wet ride, check it out for a $30 charge. Get tickets in advance. It's the end of my visit in Niagara, and time for an Erie Canal boat trip. The highlight is traveling the 60-foot elevation difference between canals through locks 34 and 35. It's a nice smooth ride in the lower canal to the bottom of the locks and into lock 34 as the gates are open for entry. The lock is 300 feet long and 40 feet wide. The back gates close and the water begins to enter. Approximately 3 million gallons of water to raise the boat up. The gates in front of us are 5 stories tall. Once through the lock, the journey on the canal takes us under a low bridge and into the main canal where one can see the hard rock walls that were chiseled. The tour turns around and heads back to the dock, which requires the boats to be lowered by the locks 60 feet to the canal below. This 2-hour trip was well worth it, and we all learned a bit about travel on the canals. The Niagara Heritage Area was beautiful. I'm staying in New York for a bit. My next visit is to Watkin Glens for some waterfall hiking, a visit to the Speedway, and the Corning Glass Museum. Thanks for watching Tommy's Holiday.